The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Excuse me! Taxi!
Come on, what are you doing?
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And joining us now, you guys, we have General Arnold Punaro, retired U.S. Marine Corps Major General. He's head of the Punaro Group. General, let's get to it. What's going to happen, do you think, with Iran? President Trump today said, we're working. It's only going to be a good deal. He said, I'm only going to accept a great deal. I'm not going to accept some mediocre deal. And he said, or else I won't hesitate to use, and he pointed to a Secretary of War, and he said, military action. What do you think is going to happen, or what do you think needs to happen?
Well, I would say it's reassuring the president remains extremely firm in his two major objectives, which is Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. They won't have access to their current stockpile of enriched uranium, and they have to give up their future nuclear ambitions. And number two, they have to open the Straits of Hormuz so it's not controlled by them or anyone else, freedom of navigation. And he's basically said, I'm patient, I'm sticking to my guns, and those two things should be conditions precedent to any further negotiations or perhaps any compromises on the part of the United States of America. And I believe from what the president said today in his cabinet meeting, he's firm in that resolve. And I think he's right. No deal is better than a mediocre deal or a bad deal.
You know, one of the things he said, General, too, about the Strait, this was a wild statement because someone asked, okay, well, Oman and Iran might try to do some deal to control the Strait. And President Trump, without hesitation, said, whoever blocks us in the Strait or blocks, free and fair navigation, we will shoot them out. He's mincing no words how important that is.
That's extremely important because it would set a terrible precedent. 90% of the world's commerce, 80% of U.S. commerce is still seaborne. We've got to keep the sea lanes open. We cannot allow a precedent to be set that a country or a couple of countries can control an international waterway. The next thing you would have is the South China Sea, China saying the $5 trillion of the world's economy that transits the South China Sea, they need to pay us. Or the Strait, or Malaysia might say, okay, we're going to start charging from the Straits of Malacca. So this is a fundamental precept that has to be enforced, and the president seems to be spot on in that regard.
General, I want to also ask you, because President Trump obviously has an open pipeline to talk with Putin. Putin was over there in China. Trump was over in China, different times, obviously, but soon after each other. What's going on? What is your sense with what's happening? Could maybe something be coming together there? It seems like Ukraine may be turning the tide with Russia. What are your thoughts?
Well, I certainly hope Ukraine is turning the tide with Russia. We can't allow Russia to be successful in Ukraine. They wouldn't stop at Ukraine. I go all the way back to President Ronald Reagan when it comes to Russia. Trust but verify. I am not a big fan of trusting Putin on any front. So I don't believe, frankly, I hate to say it, I don't think there's anything positive going on there. The only thing that's going to get Putin to heal is going to be Ukraine succeeding militarily as they appear to be doing, although they're paying a huge, huge price for that.
General John Catsimatidis, a quick one. Is President Xi from China and Putin from Russia, are they tired of the war and they're looking for a little bit of peace right now? What is your gut feeling?
I don't believe so. I mean, Putin and Xi are ruthless dictators that don't care about the impact on their own population. They want total control. I don't think they are affected by things like that. And unfortunately, during the peak of the Cold War, we wanted Russia and China to be each other's throats. The Soviets had 44 divisions on the Mongolian border because they were worried about China invading Russia. And now, unfortunately, they're working together. So that's an unfortunate development. I think they are not tired in that respect that you asked.
And they do, by the way, have they moved some of those 44 divisions to the Polish border? Is that the reason Trump?
Absolutely. No, that's the problem. I wish they were still tied down to the Mongolian border. They're using them. And you've got Putin now threatening the Baltic states. So he's relentless in his push to recreate Mother Russia and expand his borders to the west.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna.
Yeah, this one's more or less just commentary, General, and thank you for coming on. But, I would have to say that Zelensky might be in better shape if he wasn't back channeling all the money that we'd given him into Joe Biden's reelection campaign. So the problem right now is that we can't continue funding this war. I think that things are getting expensive all the way around, and that if you have someone that wants war but doesn't want to foot the tab, it's not the responsibility of the American taxpayer. So I am rooting absolutely for President Trump's negotiations in these peace deals, and I'm hopeful. I think he'll get there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when President Obama was in and this happened, no one said anything. And now all of a sudden people want war, and I'm tired of the war machine.
Well, I would say I think that President Trump's done a tremendous job in getting the Europeans to, one, carry more of the burden of their own defense in NATO, but also carry more of the burden in helping Ukraine against Russia because it's a European continent. So I think there's progress there.
Yeah, and listen, he's trying for negotiations. You got to give him a lot of credit. President Trump, big time, has been doing that. Well, thank you, General Arnold Punaro. Really great discussion. Wonderful to have you here.
Anytime. Thank you.